I apologize if my voice level is off. I have foam ear plugs in and they really change the way I hear myself. I want to talk today about 3 things before I start playing the drums. Those 3 things are being authentic, doing your best, and not caring what other people think. Recently, one of my best friends started a YouTube channel. It's called Rick Tracy. If you are into Legos or simply want to see what a cool person is doing on YouTube, I'd recommend checking out his channel. I believe it's probably youtube.com/@BrickTracy. That's Brick, Tracy. He was sharing a little bit of what he learned with me about YouTube, and he said that his inspiration was actually this other guy who's also doing a Lego-based YouTube channel, and I'll link his page too. I don't know off the top of my head what it's called. And I watched the video that Trevor sent me of this guy, and it had a very authentic feel to it. It seemed like this guy who was, had been into Legos probably as a kid and just kind of said up front that he hadn't played with Legos for 15 years and he's getting back into it, but he's obviously gotten way back into it because he has all these Legos set up behind him and he's building his drone army and whatever. It felt very authentic. And even though I'm not really that personally interested in Legos, I found it refreshing to watch this normal looking guy just talking about Legos and then putting together Legos. And there's, nothing about his video was flashy or spectacular. It was just like, he put up photos when it was appropriate to put up photos to kind of advance the story. Everything seemed like a practical decision, not like a flashy, showy, look at me decision. And I really liked that, and it made me want to watch his channel, even though it's about something I'm not really that interested in. I realized simultaneously, I realized that being authentic is important, being real is important. And I also noticed, because I've been on YouTube long enough to have several videos up and to have some statistics shown about those videos, for whatever reason, my 27-minute video, where I talked at the beginning for like quite a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and introduced the project and was a little more real about it, that's the video that has had the most views by far. And I don't know if that's just coincidence or if there's actually people were for some reason attracted to the longer video or interested in it or whatever, I don't know. But it made me realize, it made me think about something that I've thought about for a long time, and that is that social media and YouTube included, YouTube's one of those places you can go if you want to watch a 45-minute video. Facebook, everything else is really focused on the 5-second, 3-minute, capture your attention just long enough to get paid promotions in, to monetize it, and that's it. That there's a reason so many videos are 3 minutes and 2 seconds. It's because it has to be 3 minutes long to be monetized. It doesn't feel like, it's fun. I get sucked into those videos, they're entertaining, but it doesn't feel like any of those creators probably care about me or really about what they're doing. They're just trying to make a 3-minute video, go just 2 seconds over the minimum, get it monetized, capture your attention, and call it a day. And I think that, there's more and more of a push to do that. And even Trevor was telling me you have 8 seconds to capture people's attention. You got to do it in those first 8 seconds. But I think that all of us really want something real, something authentic, and something that will hold our attention for longer than 8 seconds. Because we realize that we're really fragmented, we're really short attention span, like a squirrel, can't focus on anything. And we're not squirrels, we're humans. We long for a real story, a real connection, an authentic narration that takes as long as it takes to be real. and honest. So there's that. I think it's really important not to fall for the trap of making something that's just going to be a consumer product and, you know, give up who you are and give up the authenticity of being real and being a real person, having a real story and sharing that real story on YouTube or however else it is, just to try to create a product that's going to sell and be, quote, successful. Which brings me kind of to the second point, which is doing your best. Because success should be measured in how close to your best did you come? How close to my best did I come? Whether 2 people view the video or whether 2 million people view the video is not as good of a measurement of success as how close did I come to doing the best I could possibly do. And I want that to be more my guide. You know, I don't need these videos to be successful or not successful, or, you know, get a lot of views or not get a view, or get a lot of likes or not get likes. Like, that's not the measure of success. Whether or not I'm doing my best is a better measure of success. And I've realized that I have not been doing my best. And part of the reason for that is because it's scary to put yourself out there and be like, this is my best. Because then if you get judged for that, you're being judged on something that was truly your best attempt. And it's easier to be like, yeah, I'm just playing around, you know, it might sound good, it might not sound good, I don't know, I don't care, I'm not really trying that hard. Because then I'm not taking any ownership of the outcome if the outcome isn't great. But the outcome's never gonna be great if I'm not giving it my best. So from now on, I am trying my best to get better at the drums through whatever process I'm using. And I will admit, you know, last night I started watching these YouTube videos, and some of them were by this guy named Rick Beato. It's spelled like Beato, Beato. He makes really awesome videos. He's a really good educator. And he makes long videos, and they're really involved and they're really complex. And he obviously puts a lot of time and effort into them. And they're really, really cool. Because he obviously loves music, loves talking about music, and loves playing music, and gets all these really good musicians to collaborate and make the video with him. And it's awesome. And I'm not at that level. I'm not going to pretend I'm about to be at that level right away. But my aim is to make my best video and make my best progress on this instrument that I'm trying to learn. And I'm aiming for that all the time. So if you don't think I'm good at playing drums, that's okay, because I'm trying my best. And I'm not doing it for other people to think I'm good or not good. The fact is, I'm going to be better than some people would be after the number of hours that I put in, and I'm going to be not as good as other people would be. But the whole point of YouTube, to me, is to share a story, and hopefully that story will inspire other people. And being the best at something is not necessarily inspiring. You know, there's some people you watch and you're just like, I would never be that good. Like, no matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I work, I'm just never going to be able to do what that person can do in that specific area. And that's not necessarily inspiring. It's just like, it's mind-blowing, it's incredible, whatever. Maybe it inspires a small percentage of people to like try really hard to reach that and achieve that. But for the most part, maybe being average or even being below average, but trying really hard and putting in the effort and getting results, not because of natural ability, but because of the effort you're willing to put in, that's more inspiring, because everybody can do that. Because that tells the story that And that sends the message that you don't have to be naturally good. If you want something and you work at it, you can achieve it. It's not only achievable to this little tiny percentage at the top, it's achievable to everybody who cares enough to go through that process. And that's a lot more inspiring. And, I don't want to be here just showing off myself. I want to be inspiring to other people. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good I am. And that should, my amount of progress, my level of progress in a certain amount of time should not matter to you at all. Because if you want to play drums or you want to do any other thing, then you're going to get good at it at whatever rate you get good at it at. And so I shouldn't hold back. I shouldn't try to be better than I am. I shouldn't back away from what I can do. I shouldn't present myself as either better or worse than I really am. I can just be authentic, but doing my best and not caring what other people think, which is the third part of what I wanted to talk about. And I've already kind of said it a little bit, or at least hinted at it. It doesn't matter what other people think. And that's one of the things that gets in our way of doing our best, because, I'm worried what other people think of my best. And it doesn't matter, because what they think reflects so much more on them than it does on me. But it shouldn't ever be an obstacle. That fear should not ever be an obstacle that prevents you or prevents me from aiming for what we want to aim for and doing our best along the way. I think I could go so many more directions with this, and I probably will in future videos, because all these topics are really, really important. But the big thing I want to get at, I think, is to do your best in everything you want to do. Don't worry about what other people think of your efforts. And for me, that means making these videos without worrying about who watches it, what they think of it. My own family, my own friends, people I don't know, doesn't really matter. The outcome's going to be whatever it is. But the couple of things that it's really doing for me is, one, causing me to play drums and giving me this reason and kind of this reminder to be consistent with that. And that's a good thing. And then two, causing me to have some self-reflection. And that's a good thing. So knowing that those are both good things, I can be happy with those two outcomes alone, and whatever else comes of it, comes of it. But again, I'm gonna put my best effort in along the way. And one of the things I was saying is that I started watching some videos last night that included drumming, and I was paying attention. So I'm not gonna pretend like I don't hear and listen and pay attention to and think about and maybe even try to replicate things that I hear other people doing on the drums. And earlier I kind of made it sound like I'm not taking any lessons, and that's true. And I'm not watching any lessons on YouTube, and that's true. But I am processing what I see other people do, and I'm thinking about, like, how did he do that? How did he make that sound? What was that rhythm? What was going on in what was going on the bass drum while he was doing something else? Because part of the process of getting better is listening to what other people are doing, and if you like it, trying to replicate it. Maybe not exactly, maybe yes exactly, but either way, trying to incorporate those sounds that you hear that you like into what you do. And that's not copying, especially in music, The drums, every single drum has been hit so many different ways, in so many different rhythms and so many different combinations. yeah, you can copy exactly what someone else did, but using ideas is not copying, and you can't think of it that way in music, because otherwise we just be worried that everything we ever do in music is copying to some extent someone else. But it's actually a progression. You hear something, you replicate it, you put a twist on it, you put your own flavor or take on it, and then it becomes everything that has come before and a little bit more, which is why we're always progressing in things like music. So anyways, now I'm gonna play drums. Say what I'm going to work on too, because there was a couple things last night. I came back over at like midnight. And I started working on a couple things I'm going to try to do again today. That's easier said than done, but I am going to try. I was trying to play on the tom. Simultaneously, because a habit I've been getting into, which was intentional, something I wanted to be able to do, and it's part of the reason I set the drums up this way, was playing both simultaneously every single time. Then I hit it with this hand, with this drumstick. But I don't want to use it every single time. I want to practice separating the two as well. And I was also practicing like double timing or whatever the bass. do is play like 5 minutes continuously without stopping or saying anything, because I'm also putting these videos behind the footage on my running channel, which is called, surprisingly no one had taken this yet because it's such a cool name, Wilderness Runner. Not that every single run is going to be in the wilderness, but there will be some, and others will be just like in the woods and stuff. But so I'm taking the drumming and putting it behind the video footage of the running on my running channel, youtube.com/@wildernessrunner. So that's also putting this new pressure in my head, like I have to play for 5 minutes continuously, and I need to kind of stay in time too, because, you know, once again, I'm worried about what people think of me, and they're watching me running and like, that drummer sucks. Which I just said doesn't matter. So it's kind of a fine line between like doing your best, but for the right reasons, not because you care what people think, but because it is a goal to do your best. And that can be a hard thing to navigate, and my advice is, you know, to me, to you, whatever, is don't worry about it too much, because when it comes down to it at the end of the day, if you're doing your best, you're doing your best, and we're all gonna worry about what people think about us eventually at some point along the way. And if that's pushing you to be a little bit better, sometimes that's okay. As long as the focus ends up being on doing your best as opposed to impressing somebody, you know. There is even a time to impress people, you know, to impress myself, to impress other people. It feels good to impress people every once in a while. And it can be inspiring to other people too, to know that, like, wow, that was awesome. I'm so impressed, and at the same time, it inspires me to do something myself. So I don't think that, you know, wanting to impress others is an entirely bad motive, but it shouldn't overtake our entire, you know, focus. But you know, these are things that we figure out as human beings. So I'm just sharing my thoughts because I realize that might be valuable to somebody, and it's valuable to me to kind of process my own thoughts and feelings on these things. And at the end of the day, just do some things like running and drumming that are fun, and honestly, don't take that much time out of my day, but give back a big reward, because I'm at the point where I can play the drums. Not as good as I will eventually be able to play the drums, but a lot better than when I started. And that's super cool.